Hi, Astro fans. So I'm making a little forecast or backcast for the end of the year. So this is not a forecast for the entire next year, but it is a little guidance of how to end this year because December this year is very, very charged and there's quite a few challenges waiting for us in December. So I'm gonna dive right into it, but first a little exclaimer. So I'm in Mexico, and this is a loud country. People really like to make noise here, so if you hear some explosions in the background, that is Mexicans making some. I don't even know. I don't want to call it fireworks because it's not a firework. It's literally just explosions. Yeah. All right. So we have quite a timeline which I'm gonna show you right now, and then I'm gonna go through each thing on our timeline one by one. So the thing that initiated the whole December transformation was definitely the solar eclipse on the 3rd of December. Solar eclipse happened in Sagittarius, and solar eclipses are usually moments when the sun loses its power, so to say. So the sun is the masculine principle in our mind. And when there's a solar eclipse, the sun basically is obscured for a moment, so we can't see it, which means for this day or for this moment, our inner sun, our inner male energy is a bit lower, which means our moon energy, like our emotions, our instinctual energy, comes up and we react much more instinctively, much more emotionally than we do normally because the sun is eclipsed, so our rational, like male mind, is not that strong. So, whatever has been happening for you on the 3rd of December, whatever you felt, is probably something that you usually suppress or something you usually rationalize and don't want to do. But on this day, probably it came bubbling up. So you can reflect for yourself what it has been that's happened for you on that Friday. It was in Sagittarius, which means this is a lot about mindsets, about belief systems, about the truth, or what we experience as the truth in this life. And so maybe you have been more in touch what you really feel the truth is instead of all these rational concepts you have in your mind. Plus, the eclipse was conjuncting Mercury, so it means there was something about a need to communicate, a need to say something that you also usually suppress and you also usually push down because your rational mind doesn't think it needs to be said. So, this was kind of the opening of the December season. So, the first part of this December season is very strong in Mars. Why? Well, first of all, because Mars is going through Scorpio, where he's very intense. So Mars in Scorpio energy always like brings out some deep emotions, like because Scorpio rules our unconsciousness. But now towards the end of December, but also actually it's kind of the energy is there all throughout December. Mars is starting to conjunct the South Node. So this is not only like an intense energy, like subconscious aggressions, but it is also connected to our past lives because the South Node is the gate to our past lives. There is the North Node and the South Node, remember? So the North Node is always the gate to the future. The South Node is the gate to the past. So if the Mars is conjuncting the South Node, it means Mars energies from our past lives are coming through the gate. They're flooding in. So whatever our Mars experience was in the past lives, we are going to have kind of a relapse of these emotions throughout December. So Mars in the Mars energy in our past lives means how did you deal with sexuality in your past lives? How did you deal with aggression in your past lives? What did you or didn't you, do that you wanted to do? Mars is also about action, about being active and acting, doing something. So these kind of topics are probably present on a collective level all throughout December, but the strongest on the 14th, 15th, and 16th December. This is where Mars is exactly conjuncting the South Node. After that, this energy will slowly start to subside, but then it is very, very strong. Also, the 12th and 13th of December, you could start feeling a little uneasy already, because Mars will be in the 29th degree of Scorpio. And the 29th degree is always a degree of urgency, where we feel like we need to finish something. Like we feel like, oh, today is the day that we need to get something off our bucket list. And here, in this case, Mars in Scorpio, this something is going to be connected to some subconscious urges or needs that you have been suppressing for a long time, maybe even for lifetimes. So yeah, if you feel a little uneasy these days, just reflect on what your Mars needs to do. Do you need more physical energy? Do you like where in this Mars area does your life need changes? So sexuality, action, and aggression. Sports as well, physical action, that's part of the action. So another planet that is also quite strong throughout December is Venus, because Venus is building a few aspects in December too. And I think you're seeing the theme here already. So Mars and Venus are strong in December. Mars and Venus are the lovers. They are the two planets that rule our romantic and sexual lives. So December could be quite intense on those topics. Even if nothing is happening on the physical, a lot should be happening on the inside. Even if you're just reflecting on what it is you need and want, what your desires are. Mars in Scorpio, desire, this longing, like intense desires. Okay, Venus. While Mars is in Scorpio and doing all this crazy stuff with the South Node, opening portals to your past life, letting this energy flood in, also a lot of people have memories of Martian past lives. This is something that I want to mention. Like, they have memories of when they were soldiers, when they were in war. They have some kind of aggressions come up, or some kind of character traits that they don't really know. They have sexual urges come up. They have memories of how they were hurt coming up, how they experienced aggression. So all these things. Mars conjuncting South Node, 14th to 16th December, peaking. Venus at the same time is conjuncting Pluto, and Pluto has the very same energy like Scorpio, so it's very like magnetic, very much about desire, about obsession, possession, and our Venus is caught up there, so we have like a double Scorpio signature this month in the love life area, which means that you might not be acting so rational when it comes to your decisions in your love life. So you might be acting very impulsive out of really deep basic urges that you normally manage to rationalize, but now you suddenly don't. So you might be experiencing very, very strong pulls to certain people who you actually know are not good for you, are not made for you, or you might just feel jealous. If you have a partner, you might feel more obsession, more jealousy, more possessiveness, or just also Scorpio energy, just a need to connect much deeper with your partner, like to be more profound in the relationship. That's all Plutonic topics. So Venus will be conjuncting Pluto from the 1st of December till the 6th of January, a full month, a little bit more than a full month. Normally that doesn't happen because Venus moves really quickly, so it usually only conjuncts a planet for 2 or 3 days. But this time Venus is going retrograde very soon, and before a planet goes retrograde, it starts moving very, very slowly. So right now Venus is moving so slowly that it actually stays in conjunction with Pluto for a whole month. So from the 1st of December till the 6th of January, we have Venus in conjunction with Pluto. And it will come back to make another conjunction at the end of February, where maybe the same themes that you experienced in December will come back, or maybe that same person that made you go crazy will come back, or the same topics that you were fighting about in the relationship will come back. But for now, it's 1st December till 6th of January, then there's a break from this Plutonic energy. Yeah. The next thing that will happen after Venus leaves this conjunction with Pluto, it will make a conjunction with Saturn and then with Jupiter. So that's basically a moment when you come back to rationality, when you come back to your senses and you start thinking more long-term and start making more long-term decisions regarding your relationships. Oh, and finances. I'm so sorry. I missed out saying this. Venus obviously also rules finances and not only relationships. So that's very important to note. And also self-image, self-worth. So if these topics don't play out for you with anybody else, then they might play out with yourself. You might use this kind of Venus Pluto conjunction to do really deep self-work, to like work on topics that give you low self-esteem and try to improve your own self-image, to feel more valuable, to close old wounds. Or some people also take it really to the physical, which because of the Mars in Scorpio could Mars in Scorpio could even emphasize this physical part. And physically improving would mean, in terms of Venus, maybe having procedures or some plastic surgery or just doing something to your hair. This could also be something that can come up. Maybe all of these topics come up at once. That's also a possibility. So after, in February and March, Venus will definitely chill out a little bit. So from the 11th to the 19th of March, she's conjuncting Saturn. Saturn is about stability, about structure, about long-term decisions, very rational, very, very not impulsive. So here's when you actually get out of this whole story that you've been in for December, January, February, and you come back to making, well, rational and long-term decisions about finances, love life, or your own self-worth, self-esteem. And after the conjunction with Saturn, she goes into a conjunction with Jupiter. That's from the 30th of March to the 5th of April. So there you have kind of you have an emphasized Venus energy. So there you will feel very Venusian, very happy with this, or with the choices you made, or basically also what Jupiter tends to bring is results. So you will get the results for all your decisions that you made regarding Venus in December, January, February. So that is the Venus transits, but one very important thing that's also up for happening is Venus retrograde. So this is going to be a thing from the 19th of December till the, give me a second, when was that? 29th of January, yeah. So it's till the 29th of January. 6 weeks usually is the Venus retrograde, happens every 1.5 years. And it is a time to basically clean up and close and reflect everything that you have been doing in terms of Venus throughout the last 1.5 years. Or if in the last Venus retrograde cycle you didn't manage to close everything, then maybe even further back. But it's definitely a moment where old things relationship related come up to be resolved. So if you've been putting something off, then it's gonna come up. If you've been putting off breaking up with somebody, it's gonna come up. If you've been really suppressing like something that's been annoying you in a relationship, it's gonna come up. If you, I don't know, still have a divorce that needs to be settled, it will come up. Like a lot of Venusian things can come up. If you have debts that you didn't want to look at, they will come back. So things can come back. That's about what I mean. The retrograde period is all about like going back into the past. So there's going to be this energy of being pulled back into the past from the 19th of December to the 29th of January. It is not a good moment to start anything new, like to start a new relationship or to start a new business. Also, if this period is good for you money-wise, just like take your investments before the period ends, because everything that happens in Venus retrograde stays in Venus retrograde, so it doesn't really tend to continue. So if you're having a lucky streak during this Venus retrograde, just close all your deals before the retrograde is over. because you might lose it all afterwards. On the other hand, if everything has been going well for you beforehand, then the Venus retrograde period might be not so lucky financially. But it, in one word, the easiest thing to say is it just reverts everything. It turns it 180 degrees around and it becomes different. Everything related to finances and money. That's something that happens on top of this kind of obsessive Venus-Pluto energy that's happening. So kind of intense. We have to deal with a lot. The best thing, like always, is to just sit back and try to experience it internally, but not act upon it. Whereas I think that will be very difficult because Mars is right there. Mars is making this conjunctions with the South Node that makes us more impulsive, and it will also make a conjunction with Venus. So Venus and Mars are also going to be traveling together for a pretty long time, from until the end of March. They're going to be very, very close together. So Mars keeps influencing Venus. Venus normally can be chill and doesn't have to act. But Mars is an action planet, so it's like poking. It's like, do something, do something. Okay, let's get into the Venus retrograde. So this Venus retrograde is going to be in Capricorn, which in and of itself is not that bad because it's a stabilizing sign, an earth sign, a sign that wants us to basically gain authority and sovereignty over our relationships or in our relationships. However, the fact that Venus is conjuncting Pluto throughout this retrograde gives it another tint. It makes it more dark, more painful. The retrograde can really be about going deep into the shadows and what really hurt us or scarred us in the past in our relationships, or financially, and or our self-worth, which the self-worth is kind of always interconnected because people tend to define themselves mostly through two things: what they achieved or what they have in terms of money or job, and through other people, basically through what other people think of them, in other words, relationships. So yeah, these two things will be retrospected. We will really look at what we have, pushed away, like really deep. It will leave no stone unturned. We will really have to look at those shadows and transform them. That's the Pluto energy that's part of this Venus retrograde. And to get an idea of which topics might be coming up for you this time, you could have a look at the period of December 2013 and January 2014, which is when Venus was in Capricorn for the last time. So it was retrograde in Capricorn back then also. So something that's been happening then might come back now or re-happen with another person or with the same person, but something from back then will come back up. The Venus retrograde is starting simultaneously with a full moon. So that's an interesting coincidence. It's also on the 19th of December, next Sunday. So there will be a full moon and the start of Venus retrograde. So a lot of intense energy to initiate these Venus retrograde. Full moons are good because they put us in touch with our emotions. So we will have an insight about what is going to be happening for us in the Venus retrograde. This full moon doesn't have many planetary aspects except that it's squaring Neptune, but also in a wide orb of 7 degrees, but it's still squaring Neptune, so it means that it could bring along a disillusionment, like something you've been hoping for, but then you understand you're not gonna get it, or just disappointment, or like the breaking of a dream. Something could be happening on this full moon, breaking of a belief, because this full moon is in Sagittarius, so it's all about what we believe in, and squaring Neptune means like, yeah, some illusion that we were holding, some belief that we were holding, something we were hoping for is gonna break down, is gonna disappear, like crumble in front of our eyes. That might be the start into our Venus retrograde period. But that is not everything. So this year still has more in check for us. And the next thing that's going to happen is on the 24th of December, right on Christmas Eve. We have a big celestial event, which is the changing of the moon's nodes. This happens every 1.5 years. So happened last time in May 2020, before that in November 2018. And every time people feel this very strongly, because the nodes are about purpose, right? So they are about the past and the future. And the collective moon's nodes are about the purpose of the collective. So what will we as a collective humanity be learning in the next 1.5 years? And this shift must be felt, by everybody. So this is happening on the 24th of December. The nodes are changing from Gemini, Sagittarius, to Scorpio, Taurus. So one of the nodes is always the past, and one is the future, which means one node represents something we want to get away from, and one node represents something we want to strive towards. So throughout the last 1.5 years, so since May 2020 until now, we had the nodes in Gemini and Sagittarius. The South Node in Sagittarius, the things we want to let go of, distance ourselves from, and the North Node in Gemini, things we want to develop as a collective. Now, people that naturally have a lot of Gemini, they had a really easy time. They really knew, they understood what's going on from the very beginning. The people who have a lot of Sagittarius, on the other hand, were really struggling throughout the last 1.5 years, because their natural energy was something that wanted to be released, that people want to distance themselves from, whereas the Gemini energy was something people wanted to go towards throughout the last 1.5 years. So how did this display? So if we look at just Sagittarius and Gemini, Sagittarius is all about rigid beliefs. It's about religion. It's about preaching. It's about one and only truth mindset, having no perspective, having no objectivity, being like super, super subjective and only having your idea in mind about what the truth is, about what worldview is, about what, the right belief set is. And Gemini is all about being constantly open to everything and seeing that the truth changes depending on which angle you look from. So people with a lot of Gemini, they're very fluid. They don't have rigid belief sets. They just know that everything is changing all the time, and they just go adapting themselves. So here the purpose of the collective was really to understand that there is no one single truth. So we were facing this masses of fake news and media manipulation and propaganda and all of this, just in order for us to finally turn away from that and understand that there is no truth. There is no truth seeking, because there is no truth. Truth is whatever you believe, and somebody else can believe something else, and it's also the truth. Whatever anybody believes is their truth, and you have to respect that. You have to stop trying to convince people that your opinion is the right one. You have to stop being opinionated, to stop being righteous, stop being preaching, and just accept that objectivity is the way to go. Just zoom out and see the objective picture, see how everything can be the truth if you look at it the right way, the Gemini way. And then, Gemini is also a lot about information. So the collective purpose has also been a lot about getting your own information, like managing to filter or to get a lot of information instead of just believing. Like Sagittarius doesn't collect information. Sagittarius is presented with one theory, and he uses belief rather than information in order to choose what he will consider the truth. So the whole purpose of the Gemini North Node collectively was to stop using belief in order to make up our mind and make our decisions, and start using information in order to make up our minds. Like, start collecting information on your own, start processing it, start finding info, finding a lot of different perspectives about the thing that you want to find out the truth about. So now it seems like we are ending the cycle, although I'm not quite sure that people have learned this lesson yet, but we are changing, nodes are changing, and they're changing to Scorpio and Taurus. So Scorpio and Taurus are the energy of transformation, change, and chaos, death, Scorpio, and stability, security, monotony, slowness, Taurus on the other side. Guess which one we have to let go of in the next 1.5 years? Well, my friends, it's gonna be Taurus. It's gonna be Taurus. We are moving towards Scorpio and letting go of Taurus. Well, luckily it's not Scorpio, so we are not developing towards Scorpio and letting go of Taurus. It's the opposite. We are going out of Scorpio, the chaos, into Taurus, the peace. So, however, since the way the South Node and the North Node function is that first you need to let go of the South Node and then you need to start going towards the North Node. What will happen though is that first we will have a flare-up of Scorpionic energy. And if you look back, unfortunately also throughout the nodes in Gemini and Sagittarius, we saw much more of Sagittarius than we saw of Gemini. So we saw much more people like fighting, like feistily fighting over their beliefs with their most close people, with their families, with their loved ones, let alone with like people on social media or in the media, you know. So maybe also throughout this transit of Scorpio and Taurus nodes, we will see more of Scorpio than we will see of Taurus. The Taurus thing will probably just come as a natural evolution because we finally release all of our Scorpionic themes. So the Scorpionic themes are basically everything nobody wants to talk about. So death, pain, catastrophes. Scorpio is like this really deep place inside ourselves where we are most fragile. And this is the place where everybody will need to go within the next few months. So we will need to face that as humanity as a whole, like our pains, in order to be able to heal and to regenerate and to recover, which is also Scorpio. But for many people this will be very difficult because with this Scorpio South Node, we will have a lot of stuff thrown at us, like, I don't know, our best friend telling us the harsh truth about ourselves, or somebody, you know, we will have people like bring out those darkness out of us, and then we need to step up and accept it. We need to say thank you for bringing that out. I will reflect on that. But what most people will generally do is get offensive, so, or defensive. Both, you know, like they will either fight back or they will just ignore and try to walk away from what you said. They won't accept it, they won't let it in, because basically they're fighting their own fears, they're fighting their own deepest shadows. They don't want to look there. So there might be a lot of that, a lot of this acting out, not accepting, not wanting to talk about the deeper things that are really important, not wanting to transform. But it will be coming up on the collective as well as personally. And I think that this Scorpionic aspects that we're having now throughout December, like with Venus conjuncting Pluto and Mars in Scorpio conjuncting the South Node, is kind of, you know, it's like an overture. It's like a trailer. It's bringing us into, like smoothing us into this energy of Scorpio that's going to be very, very present there throughout this nodal time with the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. However, what we are trying to develop basically is Taurus throughout the next 1.5 years, which is wonderful. Like, Taurus is the most natural energy that exists. It's like animals, you know. Taurus is like an animalistic energy in terms of being fully in tune with your own body. So like an animal, if they're hungry, they will eat. If they're tired, they will lay down. If they like you, they will touch you. If they don't, they won't. It's very natural. You don't have to think about it. You just have to listen to your body and do whatever comes up. And that is the wisdom of Taurus. It's basically just the wisdom of being in tune with your body and realizing that life can be really simple without any drama. Reconnecting back to your body, reconnecting back to nature, and just letting go of the drama, pulling back from it, just not going there, not needing to dig deeper. Obviously, if there is something you've suppressed, some sins, something you've done in the past, like hurt people or people hurt you, like these things, you will need to clear them out before you will be able to arrive at an alignment with your body. Because if we have a lot of trauma suppressed, this is the noise I've been telling about. Oh my god, let me stop this. What was I saying? Basically, if you have trauma that you suppressed, what happens when you suppress something is that you disconnect from your body, right? You are in a situation like you're experiencing trauma, violence, you disconnect from your body. And if you never come back to resolve this trauma, you stay disconnected from your body. So if you don't resolve Scorpio energy, you're never gonna get to Taurus, which is like being fully settled inside of yourself, grounded, strong, immovable. Nobody can shake you. It's like a stone, you know, like a bull standing there. So you need to go through Scorpio to come to Taurus, to come to this peace and this serenity and feeling really settled within yourself. That's why it's important to go to Scorpio. And everything you have been putting off is going to come up now in order to bring you to Taurus in the end, to bring you to this place of simplicity and serenity and reconnection to your body and nature. So this is basically the nodes that we are going to be going through. And a very interesting moment is going to be when Uranus conjuncts the nodes. This is going to happen in July, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, July 20th till August 6th. Uranus is going to be conjuncting the North Node in Taurus. So this is going to act like basically like a hurricane, like a lightning bolt that's going to strike and burn up everything in our life that holds us down from going to Taurus, from going to this like place of serenity and peace within ourselves and in the outer world. So I'm excited to see that happening. It's gonna definitely be some kind of intense moment in collective history, and yeah, I really hope that we get there in the end. This whole process is going to be supported by Jupiter, by the way, who is going into Pisces again. So Jupiter was shortly in Pisces in May and June this year, and now it's going to go back to Pisces for good in January. Actually on the 30th of December already. So it's like for the new year, we're going to have Jupiter moving into Pisces. And Jupiter loves being in Pisces. And Jupiter is a really expansive, amazing energy when it feels comfortable where it is. So Jupiter moving into Pisces is going to expand everything Pisces. It's compassion, it's love, it's unity, it's faith, basically, or good things happening to us. So if you want to know what these good things are that are going to happen to you, just look back on the period between 14th of May and 28th of July this year, and this kind of themes are going to continue for you. So whatever blessings you received in that moment, they will continue. So we will be supported on some level with Jupiter in Pisces throughout the whole year, which will hopefully, together with the North Node in Taurus, really finally bring us to a place of compassion and peace. So I think I'll leave it at that for the moment, and we'll make a more thorough analysis of the entire year for you very soon, but I hope this helps you to smooth into the next year and get a bit of context about what is happening right now. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Ciao.